Good morning and welcome to my channel. My name is Shoshana, and this is a requested video. I was requested to speak a little bit about the connection between the spiritual awakening and addiction or dependency. Um, and they are so intertwined because during the spiritual awakening, we are releasing dependencies. We are coming to stand alone. We are coming to stand in our power and release our own self-worth from dependency on things outside of us. And so they're so intertwined. And many of us, especially those of us that have a very have a natural born open connection to source, many times we are prone to addiction because there is so much flowing through us and we are uneducated in society. It's not something that is individual, and in society in general, there is a disconnect nowadays from source. That we are taught, we are living in an analytical world. We're living in a world that is primarily run by the meat body, by the ego, by what can I get, the physical world. And we're kind of untaught or uneducated in the spiritual aspects, that we are a much broader being, multidimensional, living in many different dimensions at one time, and that we are connected to source. And because we have this very broad, deep connection to source and we're taught out of it, as children, we don't understand it. It can be very confusing, and then we can be prone to addiction because there is so much noise and we don't know how to cope. We were never taught how to cope with it, that we are looking for escapes through anything that will give us some kind of relief from the pain, from the noise. And so we will, as sometimes even as young children or as adolescents, we will begin to look for easy ways out, and that can come in form of alcohol and drugs, smoking, whatever it is. And I want to broaden this and say that any kind of dependency to feel normalcy is an addiction in a way, right? But there are addictions that we're taught that are addictions, and then there are addictions that we are taught that are just normal, which could be ways of behavior, the way that we uh, react to situations, reactions that we create, or dependencies on other people, dependencies on titles or jobs or clout, or um, there's so many different dependencies, right? Because any kind of, during the spiritual awakening, what we are doing is that we are learning how to release. We're learning how to let go. We are learning how to let go of anything in the physical world that is holding us in place, right? So again and again and again, we have to surrender and let go of stuff, let go of relationships, let go of jobs, let go of titles, let go of agreements that we have made with ourselves, let go of ourselves over and over and over. We are relearning aspects of ourselves, and every place that we find that we are holding in the physical world is holding us back from that rising, from understanding that we are divine and that there is nothing in the finite world that defines us. And as long as we are holding on to something in the finite world to make us feel normal, or to give us some kind of relief or some kind of security. And I'm not saying that, we are living in this physical plane, and this is the plane where everything plays out. And this is the plane um, in which we get to achieve or to even have this life experience. This is the plane. But we have to find that balance between matter and spirit, that perfect place that sits in the middle of the Merkava. There's a place of suspension where we are suspended, where we can enjoy matter, but we're not latched onto anything. So if something is taken from us out of our physical world, then we are still in that place of suspension. We're still in that place where we are okay. It's all an experience. We're just watching it happen. We're experiencing it and watching it happen. So as long as we are, let's say we have a home that we are paying a mortgage for and we are running to work and we're doing everything to hold on to it, and then we lose our home, right? It's something that can be very, very traumatic. But if we are going through life watching it and just saying, okay, well, this is leaving my life now, it doesn't have to be traumatic. It is something falling out of my life and it is opening up a complete new chapter in my life, because when we move homes, it's new chapters open up. And I've experienced this many times in my life. When I was a child, we moved around a lot. At least almost, if I do an average, it was at least once a year that we would move. And in my adulthood, well, I've also moved across continents, and every move like that, every change like that is an absolute brand new chapter of my life. It is a lot of times it can be very scary because you're going into the unknown. But not only are you learning your capabilities when you begin to let go of things that you were holding on to, and it can be things like, I just started drinking my coffee black. I let go of, I was using like almond milk or oatmeal milk. And so I made a change. I changed the dependency of every morning I have to get up and have coffee with the alternative milk. And so when you're not held on to something, when you can start changing, you're going to have to come out of your comfort zone, right? To let go of dependencies and to let go of addictions. And when you let go of an addiction or a dependency, first of all, it can be very difficult because it's scary. I let go of many addictions in my life: alcoholism, smoking, weed, um, and then there's all of the, let go of a marriage, let go of a home, let go of dependency on things that created in me how can I dependency is the word. That something that holds me in place and confines me and makes me have to do a specific routine in order to feel normalcy. So as humans, we have a tendency to want to feel safe, to want to feel that we uh, to feel some kind of normalcy. And what it does is it makes us hold on to routines. But if we are holding on to one routine so that we can feel safe for our entire life, then we have no movement in our life. Our life becomes very small. And then we become afraid of going out of our comfort zone, of doing anything different than our normalcy, because that normalcy gives us security. And when we learn how to release, then we start feeling safe in the releasing. We start feeling safe in not um, in change, and that broadens our life. It allows us to understand who we are as well. It allows us to understand um, what we are capable of, and it allows us to easily move through life and to break dependencies so that we can be free, because what we're doing during the spiritual awakening is letting go, letting go, letting go, and freeing ourselves from the shackles that we ourselves created, because the shackles that we are in are shackles of our own mind, of it has to be this way, and if it's not this way, then I'm not okay, or I have to achieve specific things, or I have to hold up a certain persona, otherwise I won't be accepted. There's also a fear of not being accepted or being abandoned, which connects back to our core wounds. And so we are breaking these patterns of behavior. What are patterns? Patterns in our mind. They are dependencies. They are addictions. We are addicted to ways of thinking. If you think of a thought process that is on automatic mode, where you get stimulated, a trigger, you get some kind of stimulation, and you have this automatic thought process that happens, that is an addiction. That thought process equals addiction. It is an addictive way of thinking. It is one specific way that you are have a tendency of thinking. It can be in have you ever met people that if you just touch them, they're explosive and they just explode, and that is their reaction? That is an addiction, because that explosion that they have in there, and I'm giving this example because it's something that each and every one of us has experienced in our life, or been witnesses to, or might have even been the butt of. And so we can easily see it. And then we think to ourselves, well, why is that person behaving like that? Can't they see themselves? But that is an addictive way of behavior, which is protecting, right? It's a protection. It's a protective mode. It is something that was created, a tendency that was created in early childhood that protected emotionally when you get too close and they can't contain their emotions. Then they have found that if they are offensive, it will repel whoever is coming too close to whatever emotion it is that they don't want to feel. And sometimes the container can be very, very small. You just barely touch the person. And I don't mean like touch them physically. I mean like touch some kind of point in them that is a trigger, and it just is a complete explosion. Um, and so you can perceive that and see that also as an addiction. It is an automatic way of behavior. And the external addictions like alcohol, drugs, and all of the obvious addictions are much easier to remove from your life than there's um one of those little like a parachuter. I'll show you. And in a minute, I'll show you where I am too. I've actually hiked up to this vantage point on this mountain. Um, Trying to find a stable place for the camera to sit. There we go. And so the external addictions are much easier to remove from your life because they are something external. They are something that you can visually see and remove. And not saying that it's not difficult. It is very difficult. I have done it myself. It is one of the most difficult things, but it is also one of the most empowering things. The addictions that are more difficult to remove from your life are addictions of behavior, because you don't even know that you're doing them. You are blind to them. And each and every one of us has these things, whether it's explosive mode or going into victim mode, right? If somebody comes or you get into a situation where you start feeling weak and you go into being a victim, it's the same thing. It's not taking responsibility. It's not standing up. It's not being that strong being that you actually are. It's not taking back your power, right? Because we have archetypes, and the archetypes are like on a spectrum. And so you have the power of the archetype and you have the weakness of the archetype. If you are not standing up in your complete power, then you are falling into the shadow. And the shadow of the archetypes are controlling your life. And those shadows typically are in your subconscious. They're things that you are blind to. You're not looking at them, and they are blindly controlling your life. Just like your addictions, let's say alcohol is controlling your life. When you are addicted to alcohol or to smoking, it alters your entire life. Not only does it alter your psyche, but it starts seeping in and it starts altering your behavior and everything that you do. Because let's say if it's like alcohol with me, then you have this time that you in the day, when it starts getting closer to evening, you have this time that you're out, you want you to drink, and you start forming your entire day around that. So it makes you to where you are not free. It holds you. It's a shackle. And say if somebody wants to plan an outing with you, you are always planning around the alcohol or around whatever the addiction is. It could be an addiction to soap operas. It could be an addiction to food. It could be there's so many different kinds of addiction. I was also addicted to food. I was obese. And so I understand these things. I'm talking from a place of knowing, of actually experiencing it within my being and having to let go and let go and let go. Thing is, once you break those habits, it's like a bicycle wheel that's going, and you stick a spoke in it and you stop it. And in the beginning, it's very difficult. It's like you feel like it's taking away a part of yourself. How are you going to do this? It's always going to be this difficult. But once you break that habit and you get far enough away from it, it becomes easy peasy. It becomes not only easy peasy, you become so much stronger and so much more confident in yourself, and knowing that, okay, you can't hold me down and tempt me with physical things. I'm not going to sell my soul over for some kind of easy out. And you come into control of yourself. The feeling in that, the independence in that feels so great that there is no other kind of satisfaction like it. And that is what frees us during the spiritual awakening. We start freeing ourselves from external holds on us, or even internal holds on us, things that give us relief from having to cope with life. The thing is that once you start really coping with life and you really take the bull by the horn, it becomes so much easier to handle life than when you are not taking responsibility and you're taking all those outs, because you are now in the driver's seat. You get to decide. Maybe you do have to take responsibility, and you do have to stand in your own power, and you do have to make decisions for yourself, and you do have to take responsibility also for the outcomes of those decisions. But it makes it so much more simple because you are the one that is in control. So if you're paying the price, but you made the decision, then it's only you there. I'm not, of course, I know that there is no absolute, and that a lot of times when we make decisions, there's other people that also pay the price, but their life is also their responsibility. And so we cannot take on our shoulders the responsibility. I mean, I'm not talking about children, right? Children, we do have a responsibility towards our children, but I'm talking about taking on responsibility for a spouse or for another person, even if we feel like we have to um, perform for them. There are responsibilities that, let's say if you have a relationship that is completely codependent, you do have some kinds of responsibilities to that person, but that doesn't mean that you have to sell your soul to that person. If you want to make a change and you want to move on, you can slowly do that process and slowly hand them back over the power in their own lives back to them. as you release yourself from it. It's also that way with addiction, with any kind of substance abuse. Substance abuse is holding you back from your spiritual awakening. If you are abusing some kind of substance and you are dependent on it for your normalcy, then you are not coming back, right? Because if you want to become um, that strong being that enters into a state of heaven on earth, right? Because when we come into standing in our power, we enter into a place that is in this plane that is the equivalent of heaven on earth. It is a place in your um, consciousness. It is a perspective, a way of being, a way of living, a way of living empowered and complete, a way of living free from shackles. We are freeing ourselves. That's why it feels so good when we free ourselves. Now, you cannot enter into that state and be a standalone, strong being if you are entering into it with dependencies. If you have dependencies, it means that it's still giving you some kind of relief from some kind of work that you have not done. Now, I'm not saying, because many different substances have medicinal power to them, right? Even for our rising. I've done so many different medicines during this spiritual journey. But once you have a dependency on them, then it is hindering your spiritual work. If you are using them for their medicinal, or here and there for a shamanic uh, process, or a shamanic healing circle or something like that, that's a different story. And you will know the difference. You deep down, if you look inside, you know the difference. There's a difference between being dependent on something and having to have it, than being able to once in a while during a ceremony use something for its medicinal attributes, or for some kind of quantum jump. There's a very big difference in it, and you can tell the difference within yourself and know the difference. And if you are going during the spiritual awakening, what you are doing is purifying yourself and coming to a state of your own pure essence, of where you are stand alone, strong in your full power. And that cannot be with dependencies. Um, there's so many different ways also to rid yourself of dependencies. First of all, you have to become aware, and you have to really want it. You have to really want it. Absolute. It has to be a stronger want than anything else. It has to become your life purpose, and it does. At some point, you start realizing that that is the most important thing of your life, is your spiritual journey. That all the rest is just what helps you along the way. But the spiritual path is the most important. There is nothing of substance, nothing you can hold on to, because we are all going back into the all, everything. We will hand over this body. Living in the land that I live, there's a lot of ancient ruins around. You see, these were homes of people. People held on to this. People built fences around their homes to hold their space, and to have, like, to grasp onto the physical. And you see it 2,000 years later, and it's meaningless. It's just a rubble. There's nothing left. And so when you look at things in perspective, in that kind of perspective, all there is, the only thing that you will be leaving is what you leave in the living, right? Your legacy, or any kind of knowledge that you pass on into the extension of the living, right? So that is, it's funny, because it's kind of a paradox, because in matter, we try to hold on to matter, our homes, our this or that, try to get stuff. And all we're reaching for really are emotions. We're reaching for security. If we're reaching for money, it's because money will give us a certain feeling or experience that we want, or we have enough money to travel, or we have enough money to have finer things. And if we want finer things, it's for the emotion that it will give us. That's what we're always reaching for, even if we think it's elusive, we think it's matter. And it's kind of a paradox, because you cannot leave matter. There is nothing to leave. You may leave it for a generation or two generations, but a few generations down the line, that's already gone. And all that is left, really, the only thing that withstands time is, like, let's say, like Yeshua, Jesus's legacy. His legacy is left in the living. It's not left in anything physical. It's left in what he left for humanity. So that's really the only thing that we leave, and the only way that we can leave that is by purifying ourselves and having a message that is so strong that it withstands time, or some kind of development that betters mankind, that mankind can take and build upon. And so really holding on to anything of matter is I don't know why redundant is coming to mind, but it's not redundant. It is redundant, but that's not the point of what I'm saying. But you get it. And if you are holding on to addiction and running after addiction, some kind of addiction, don't have the space or the freedom to rise into your higher power and to allow what naturally wants to flow through you, what gifts that you have come to give. Your state of being is altered by these addictions, whether it's addictions that are in the external forms or addiction of behavior, ways of thinking, right? It's all the same. It's clutter, and it's not allowing you to be in your purest form. So we're coming back to the purest form of being. And once you come back to that purest form of being, whatever wants to flow through you will naturally flow through you without any kind of having to force it, or what is it, or look for it. So the most important thing that you can do is clear the clutter, is to release attachment, release addiction, release surrender, and purify yourself. Your spiritual work is the most important thing that you can do, and all the rest will happen on its own once you purify yourself. So I hope that that was clear. Yeah, I have the vision within myself so clear, and sometimes it's to put it into words, I find that the words are lacking. So that is the best that the way of explaining it that I could find right at this moment. I've done before some videos about addiction and the spiritual awakening, and actually seeing addictions as kind of like um, I want to say demons, like there are different kind of archetypal behaviors that attach onto our beings and alter our way of thinking. And, demons, that's such I'm saying this right at the end of the video because it's such a broad, I want to explain it more. It's not demons like in the way that you think, oh, there's demons. It's more of like a way, some kind of behavior that is attached onto you that has altered your way of thinking. But it's such a broad subject. I don't even want to bring it up now. So I'm going to show you really quick where I am. So I hiked up to this vantage point. I live in that settlement over there on that mountain. And there's a pillar down there in caves. And I'm hiking up this little crevice here. And I don't know if you can see my doggies. My doggies. They're their own. And so I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you for being here with me. And if you would like to schedule a one-on-one with me so that we can kind of look at what you're going through and get some perspective on it, I would love to. So my contact information is in the website below. Thank you for watching.